What is a war film? Yes, they are films about war, but what lies deeper? How does one read combat in film? Better yet, why does one read combat in film? That is why I'm here to discuss today. You see, combat in film is so much deeper than the outward layer might seem. There are things that one might miss upon first watch. To best understand where we go from here, it would be best to talk about some keywords. Keywords are critical to reading combat in film. There are 9 important keywords that we will discuss today. Those are body and embodiment, combat, history, kill, love, Marine rifleman, simple facts, stress, and war movie. These are pivotal ideas that describe the circuits of war culture and the warfighter's lifespan theory, as well as explain the qualitative method for reading combat in film. Keywords mark the boundaries that separate literary disciplines. They invite you to see, think, read, and write like a professor that identifies with the professional class of academics. Knowing these keywords will lead you down a better path when it comes to learning about certain subject matter. When it comes to body and embodiment, there's one very important point to remember. It is not just the bodies of combatants and victims that are produced by and central to war, but the bodies of veterans, witnesses, pacifists, patriots, and many others. Much like how the warfighter lifespan theory describes a warfighter, it isn't just the bodies of those who fight. It is those who are training to fight, are fighting, and have fought. It is all those who war has touched. Furthermore, it is about how the reality of war is not just politics by any other means, but politics incarnate. Politics written on and experienced through the thinking, feeling bodies of men and women. When it comes to combat, it is an interesting topic. There's so many examples from so many veterans who fought. Those who have been physically injured, those who have been mentally scarred, and those who tragically lost their lives. I think that a great example of witnessing combat comes from the documentary short Alive Day Memories, Stories from Iraq, and the testimony given by U.S. Army Sergeant Brian Anderson.
Everybody always says if this, were going to happen, it couldn't have happened to a better person.
MP Company, standing about 5'4", 125 pounds, soaking wet. Anderson. Specialist Anderson, the 0 Fighters.
Tell me what happened first.
It was probably around 11 when it actually happened. I was driving, and me and my team leader, his name's Kenny, we always sit there and talk and bullshit and, make fun of everything that we're doing and, just trying to keep a sense of humor so we keep our mind off being scared.
So wait, how are you feeling today on this wonderful day?
Just great knowing that our wonderful platoon sergeant is coming back to make their life a living hell today.
Yes, I cannot wait either.
And if I remember correctly, I was smoking. I had my left hand on the steering wheel. I was smoking, and then the bomb went off. I didn't hear it, but I saw it, like the flash and the smoke and the fire coming through the door. And I realized we got hit, so I was like, oh, we got hit. And then I had blood on my face and the flies were landing all over my face, so I wiped my face to get rid of the flies, and that's when I noticed that my fingertip was gone. So I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I started really assessing myself. I was like, all right, that's not bad. And then I turned my hand over. I noticed like this piece of, this chunk of my hand was gone. So I was like, okay, still not bad. I can live with that. And then when I went to wipe the flies with my face again with my left hand, there was nothing there. So that's when I was like, oh, that's gone. And then I looked down and I saw that my legs were gone. And then they had kind of forced my head back to the ground so that hoping that I wouldn't see,
What was your immediate reaction to that?
Well, I was just kind of like, oh shit.
History in the context of reading war films is a unique case. This is because history is so central to war films that it is impossible to have one without the other. The literal definition of history as a noun is this: a written narrative constituting a continuous chronological record of important or public events of a particular trend, institution, or person's life. When many people think about or use the keyword history, it most likely means something like what happened in the past, and understand these happenings as what really happened in the past. More so than history, some would argue that killing is even more unique in its place in war films. It is very rare to find someone in everyday life that has killed someone before. When you train for years to do something and finally have to do it, there is this certain air of hesitation. Veteran Captain Timothy Kudo put it best in his article, How We Learned to Kill. When I originally became an infantry officer, increasing my Marines' ability to kill was my mission, and it was my primary focus as I led them to Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, as a young lieutenant, I had faith in my Marines. I trusted them and looked up to them. But in the back of my mind, I always wondered whether they would follow my orders in the moment of truth. As echoes of gunfires reverberated and faded, I received my answer. Yes, they would follow me. I also received affirmation to a more sinister question. Yes, I could kill. As many may know, love is an aspect of war films just as much as death and killing. There are many different types of love, like the love of your brothers in arms, love of adrenaline, and love of the environment that they fight in. In William Broyles Jr.'s article, Why Men Love War, he reminisces on a conversation that happened with a fellow soldier after Vietnam. A few months after I visited Hears and his wife, Susan, in Vermont, where they run a bed and breakfast place. The first morning we were up at dawn trying to save 5 newborn rabbits. Hears built a nest of rabbit fur and straw in his barn, and positioned a lamp to provide warmth against the bitter cold. What people can't understand, he said, gently picking up each tiny rabbit and placing it in its nest, is how much fun Vietnam was. I loved it. I loved it, and I can't tell anybody. Furthermore, later on in the article, Broyles states this: war may be the only way in which most men touch the mythic domains in our souls. It is, for men, at some terrible level, the closest thing to what childbirth is for women, the initiation into the power of life and death. It is lifting off the corner of the universe to look what's underneath. To see war is to see into the dark heart of things, and that no man's land between life and death, or even beyond. United States Marine Corps General Alfred M. Gray stated, "Every Marine is, first and foremost, a rifleman. All other conditions are secondary." It is this quote where we learn what a Marine rifleman is. A Marine rifleman is all those in the Corps who fight. A simple fact is just that. Simple. They are the raw data we rely on to both A, create context, and B, to imagine the historical fact. Two different and interrelated concepts distinguish simple facts: contextual detail and contextual matter. Contextual detail are specific dates and geographic locations within which people, events, institutions, and/or ideas act and/or are acted upon by other people, events, institutions, and/or ideas. As such, details are the answer to when and where questions. Contextual matter are material and tangible things, and ideational or even ephemeral things that are tethered to specific times and places, and named by human beings. Contextual matters, like variables in the wider social sciences, either act on and/or are acted upon by other matters. As such, matters are the answer to who and what questions. Stress is what soldiers tend to feel in the field of battle. More so than this, it's what they also feel afterwards. Combat stress reaction is a disorder caused by the direct trauma of war, closely linked to PTSD. In research done by Zava Solomon, they found that many techniques have been created and studied to address PTSD. However, according to the study, CSR has an influence above and beyond PTSD. This calls for a specialized intervention, in particular, to decrease the rate of mortality. This is because CSR is strongly linked to early mortality. War movie. A war movie, as one may guess, is a movie about war. However, there is much more nuance to it than that. In the book Oxford Dictionary of Film Studies, Guy Westwell and Annette Kuhn state, war film, combat film. An enduring, varied, and international genre showing scenes of war, home front dramas, veteran films, service comedies, basic training films, spy films, prison of war movies, and partisan films may all be regarded as war films. However, the war film proper is generally, if somewhat arbitrarily, regarded as featuring scenes of combat that are dramatically central and determine the fate of the film's principal character, hence the other commonly used term, combat film. Why do we do this? Why do we need this? What is the purpose for reading combat in film? In short, we must analyze these films in such a way so that we may seek to make combat in film a subject of critical investigation that looks to us to becoming a much more engaged citizenry. It is our duty, to put it simply.
Again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So will you please say hello to the folks that I know? Tell them I won't be long. They'll be happy to know that as you saw me go, I was singing this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me, how the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way. And forevermore, that's how you'll stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
goes. I see a line of cars and they are painted black, with flowers and my love both never to come back. I see people turn their heads and quickly look away, like a newborn baby, it just happens every day. I look inside myself and see my heart is black. I see my red door, I must have it painted black. Maybe then I'll fade away and not have to face the facts. It's not easy facing up when your whole world is black. No more will my green seagull turn a deeper blue. I could not foresee this thing happening to you. If I look hard enough into the setting sun, my love will laugh with me before the morning comes. I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. Girls walk by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head and
Yet you didn't convince me. Let me see your real war face. Ah! You don't scare me. Work on it. Sir, yes, sir.
Full Metal Jacket is the movie one thinks about when talking about Vietnam movies. It is among Stanley Kubrick's best work for many reasons, but one of those being how much more grounded it is as something like 2001: A Space Odyssey. This is especially important because it takes place in a particular time period and place. More specifically, it takes place during two different places and times. The first half of the film takes place during the Vietnam War at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island in South Carolina. The first half of the film focuses on two privates, J.T. Davis, Joker, and Leonard Lawrence Pyle. They are both part of the same platoon and go through the training required to become Marines. However, Private Pyle is not the sharpest tool in the shed. He repeatedly makes mistakes and screws up. Private Joker is placed with the duty to help Pyle shape up. However, it slowly falls apart. After the hard-ass drill instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, utilizes a collective punishment policy, everyone seems to fall in on Pyle. Slowly but surely, he is mentally broken by the training. He begins to talk to his rifle as if it was a person. This is emphasized by the Rifleman's Creed, which is symbolic for what is essentially the brainwashing that Private Pyle has faced. Private Joker is powerless to stop it or to stand up to anyone, and it all comes to a head one night. Anyone who has seen Full Metal Jacket knows exactly which scene emphasizes the reality of Private Pyle's and Private Joker's situation. The stress of training, the fear of combat, the mental indoctrination, it all comes to a breaking point. This is where the warfighter lifespan theory comes into play. Private Pyle only got through the first part before it was too much, but Private Joker actually makes it to combat. Furthermore, he ends up having a similar story arc to Private Pyle. He has seen combat and survived, initially hesitant to kill, and become the monster that Sergeant Hartman wanted him to be. By the end of the film, he is able to make that choice. Because only one of our two principal characters makes it through the film, it is an interesting case when it comes to linking it to other war films. It is easy to connect Private Joker and Private Pyle, as they are contained within the same film. However, if we were to link this film to other war films, it is very much a different story. Private Joker is a very hesitant character, as many Marines in films start out. However, a lot of the times we see our principal character evolve into a less and less hesitant character. A lot of the time, especially in recent films, you also see these soldiers after the fact, coming full circle with the warfighter lifespan theory. We see the body before, during, and after war. But Full Metal Jacket doesn't do that. It implies that the end of this warfighter's lifespan, being that of Joker, has come full circle when he finally accepts that he is no longer afraid of war. I think that we need to acknowledge something about the warfighter lifespan theory. Sometimes, in media depictions of war, we aren't allowed to see the end. It is up to the viewers to decide where the character goes after combat. Do they die? Do they live? Does it matter? At the end of the day, do we deserve to know? In the wider context of things, we don't. It's just like war actually is. Senseless and brutal. It is all-knowing, so much more than we do. We won't ever know.
We play fair and we work hard and we're in harmony. M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse! Mickey Mouse! Mickey Mouse! Forever let us hold our banner high, 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 high. Boys and girls from far and near, you're welcome as can be. M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E. Who's the leader of the club that's made for you?
My thoughts drift back to erect nipple wet dreams about Mary Jane Rottencrotch and the great homecoming fuck fantasy. I am so happy that I am alive, in one piece and short. I'm in a world of shit, yes, but I am alive, and I am not afraid.
M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E. Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E. Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. M-I-C